Little puppy faces.
Huh?
I love your little puppy's faces.
Oh, I know.
Cute.
They're sleeping right now. I told David I have to keep it on mute because as soon as they hear Joe, they start barking. I don't know what it is about having his voice on the phone, but they're like, who's here?
Amazing, you make this
Later on the couch sleeping too.
Yeah, right before they snooze them. Oh.
So they announced on the radio, on the TV this morning that California may remove the mask mandate for vaccinated people in meetings.
Really?
Yep, they said they may announce that by the end of this week or probably for sure by the end of the year, which doesn't make sense to me.
My sister was vaccinated and she just got over being sick for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
From the vaccine?
No, from getting COVID.
Oh, wow.
I mean, she had to go on antibiotics. She had to take an inhaler, a sinus spray, and some other things.
Yeah.
I've been one of those people who ended up in the hospital.
Okay.
Huh?
I'm glad she's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Woodruff. I don't know if you remember him.
Thank you very much. So, Rotary Club of Sebastopol Sunrise, October the 20th, in case you were counting. And we started recording already. And remember, if you are hooked up to our Wi-Fi, check your phone and make sure that you're not, because we're going to do a short video, and it'll just kill it if both are on the internet or on the Wi-Fi with us. So, lest you remember, I went out and checked the current CDC guidelines and the county guidelines, and they say that we can gather as we are gathering, but that we should wear masks except when we are actively eating. You stop eating for a little bit and you go, oh well, just put the mask back on and that'll keep everybody safe. Really grateful for everybody's cooperation in that regard. Lori, darling.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Face the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And
We aren't hearing you.
What? Can you hear me?
Yeah, going.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation
under
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. We don't all start or stop in the same rhythm, but we all get there eventually. Uh-oh.
Stereo.
Our greeter, Diana Curtis. Yay! Thank you. And Marty and the setup team. There were a bunch of people in here making things happen. And Terry, hopefully we're going to see you sticking around to put this back like it used to be. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, let's hope we have steam.
Oh, I'll let them. Oh, crap. Did I say that out loud or was I just thinking?
Yeah, you got a
$20. Okay, $20. Who's the guy who comes and gets that from me? There he is, Terry Kelly, back from Arizona.
Yeah, I think David has to find it.
Do you dislike the word crap?
I think it's not.
All right.
Dear body.
Here's my wallet. Just take what's necessary. I'm done with that. And why is this? You know, I'm not going to play with it at the moment, but.
Where's Ken Brandon? There's the money, man.
Yeah.
Count the money.
The sheriff is back in town. No playing around like we were doing before. Okay. Thought for the day, Nick Randall.
They got a bite. Yeah.
Oh, here's one.
You all will remember not too long ago when we had a speaker that talked about ACEs, Adverse Childhood Events. I have a quote here that kind of follows up on that concept. The gravest and most costly public health issue in the United States is child abuse. It's been calculated that the overall costs exceed those of cancer and heart disease, and that eradicating child abuse in America would reduce the overall rate of depression by more than half, alcoholism by 2/3, and suicide, ID drug use, and domestic violence by 3/4. It would also have a dramatic effect on workplace performance and vastly decrease the need for incarceration. Think about that.
There we go, right. So somehow or other, when I pushed the button, it skipped a bunch of stuff, but we can't skip this. Because you all want to sit down.
Well, it is October, I almost forgot, before it's over, we have Oktoberfest, and we have polkas and all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah. Roll out that barrel.
And beer, we're gonna roll out the barrel. Very good. Ready? Roll out the barrel. We'll have a barrel of fun. Roll out the barrel. We've got the blues on the run. Sing, boom, Torero. Have a song of cheer. Everybody roll the barrel, for the gang's all here.
Hey, you know what? Michael just told me that we have 26 people in the room.
We're all going to be arrested.
Okay, we get that.
Unlawful gathering.
Yeah, visitors, guests, and Zoom participants. Is there a visitor in the room?
I'd like to introduce our speaker, Amy Sass from Vanguard here in town.
All right.
And yes,
I'd like to introduce Linda Taylor, and a guest of DMR.
that's right.
Very nice.
Linda Taylor is friend and family. Do you have any relatives in the room?
Well, I guess just you.
Well, what about Michael?
Oh, Michael, yes,
Yeah,
my
let's
daughter-in-law's father.
That's right. So you are related by marriage. Michael Fells, you got family in the room.
I do, and I think she's my suegra.
She's your suegra? Hold on.
In Spanish, I think. Suegra. Suegra. She and I are co-in-laws. So my daughter is her daughter-in-law, and her son is my son-in-law. How much better than that can it get?
Right.
Breakfast and a Spanish lesson. How cool is that? So, and we have people in the Zoom audience, though I don't see them on a screen anywhere. Where are the folk in the Zoom audience we should say hello? We have Lori Darling. Hello, Lori. Henry Opler. Good morning, Henry.
Hi.
Barbara Barney. And Darlene. There we all are. Hey.
Don't forget Dan Needham. He looks like he's in an airport.
Go on.
Ah, Dan Needham's there. And Jim Blum. Oh, sorry, I wasn't. Hi, there you are. Now I can see you up on the screen. I couldn't see you all before. Had to go over and find Charlie's. So, that's a pretty good turnout, wouldn't you say? Glad to see y'all. So it is now time to mute all. And then I wish you to say a prayer, because we're going to try to show a video that Jerry is going to introduce. Jerry, would you come to the podium, please? Okay. Here's your mic. I got my hands full. Do I need to keep it on? No. Okay.
All right. Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hey. So I am the district stewardship chair. I mean, I'm the only one for the district, meaning I go after people, and it has to do with the global grants. Yes, global grants, that's what we're talking about. And we have our event coming up on November 7th, Sunday, I think it's November 7th at 7 p.m. You'll get an email about it. It's the foundation event. And so one of the things I'm going to be doing there, I'm going to get like a dress rehearsal right here with you, is about the benefit of global grants. And you know, we collect money, we talk about Paul Harris, we talk about donating here, donating there. Global grants are what I call living the giving. And when you participate in a global grant, as our club did, we get to live the give. And so what the video is about our grant, but you've all seen what we did for the grant. And what the video is, I asked the teachers at the school to record a little video of the students to talk about what effect our grant is having on the students there. So it's the benefit, is what's changing lives. And that's what we're going to see in the video here. And pay attention, because when these students are talking, they are talking to you. Every one of you that participates in the club and helped raise the money that did the grant there. So when they say thank you and all what they're going to say, they're talking to you, because you are living the giving. So let's look at it.
Hi, Jeremy Basham here from Sebastopol Sunrise Rotary. A year and a half ago, we completed our water, sanitation, and hygiene global grant at a school in Tanzania. You know, sustainability for a project is so important. I stay in touch and continue to receive good news. So now it's time to check in and hear from the ones whose lives have been improved. Now, instead of girls walking for hours each morning to fetch water, there are new rainwater harvesting tanks. They're spending more time in class and graduating at a much higher rate.
Hello, my dear. My name is Essen Agnes, and a nice project. A project is very beneficial to we students of Villa Secondary School, since there is availability of water, especially the girls. They do not waste time to go in the toilets while the toilets are nearby their classrooms. Sure, may God bless all those who support the achievement of this project, because the project has been so beneficial to us. Be blessed.
There's even enough water to grow vegetables and improve their diet.
Hi, this is one of our vegetable garden. These ones are known as eggplants in our local language, Ntong. We do this by ourselves and we use them as foodstuffs to improve our diet. Thank you. Hello, this is another vegetable garden where we get time to prepare it ourselves. We plant these ourselves down as spinach. We get to eat them, they're so delicious, whereby they improve our diet. Thank you.
With the new toilet building, improved sanitation and hygiene has more girls staying in school.
Hi guys, my name is Elvita. I'm here with my colleague. We are here in front of you to present you the benefits of the such project which have been attained by our school since the project was introduced. For real, the project has been very beneficial to us, such that we can't explain. But we can explain few benefits as follows. Yes, great benefits of course. Because they have saved our time since we no longer have to walk this road. Also, the gas of course at our school is also increasing.
These are just some of the benefits that will go on for years and positively impact generations of students at the school.
Wow, this is what we did, and mess, but the girls are eating eggplants and spinach and all kinds of vegetables now because we did that. That is fabulous. Thank you all for participating and living the dream.
That was lovely, Jerry. Thank you very much. And thank you to the club. This is the accomplishment of everybody in this room. Sorry to say the gimbal stuff isn't really going to work as well for us. Let me redo the computer here. All this high-tech stuff eludes me. Present. Come on now. You can do it. Okay. So, that's what we got. We got some gratitude. And that was Bukoba, Tanzania. And thank you very much for the subtitles, Jerry. So, a donation opportunity. Look over there if you want a cool styling Rotary mask that you can wear and share. All you got to do is walk over to the table there, get one, plop down $10 or preferably much more so that you can be styling and feeling good about it. Don't be caught without them because there may be fines.
They also improve your hearing.
They improve your hearing. Yeah. Huh. I didn't realize that. What's working for you? Yeah, you got the wrong mask on. That's why you don't hear me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hold your ears around. That is true. So, Diana Curtis, you have been in Rotary for, oh my goodness, the time goes by, 21 years.
I can't believe it. My gosh, I'm of age. 21 years. It has been fantastic. I joined Rotary to get acquainted with the people in the community, but it's so much more. There are people all over the world now that I'm aware of. I think one of the things that stands out in my mind is when we went to Berkeley for the Peace Fellows and listened to them speak. That was just fantastic. There are so many moments in this club, both locally and internationally, that have just done my heart good. And I want to thank everyone.
Oh, that's lovely. And take the mic over to Brian Bauer, who is also having a Rotary event.
If I drink coffee at the same time I talk, can I take this thing off?
Yeah.
So, I absolutely love the community aspect of Rotary and the international projects we've done a few countries. But vocationally, though we're not a pure vocational organization, I've absolutely loved how Rotary people have helped me in the last two startups. Dan Needham, I joined, Dan helped bring me with Daryl Davis into the club at the same time we were starting a company. And it's just been incredible. The work ethic, overall ethic that people have helped with companies so much. Listen, Kate jumps through hoops on insurance, Rich Levin on the legal, Michael on so much of the internet stuff and IT types of things, and Wayne on our setting up our chemistry when we have very little funding at the beginning, and Wayne's willing to work for these crazy trades. He'll take any jump, by the way. And then not just this club, but a lot of investors from the new club and pretty active investors like Frank B, who's got a lot of history in some of the stuff we do. It's been super helpful. So again, not that we're vocational, nobody's keeping track and that all of it. It's just informally wonderful.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. Congratulations on the anniversary. Glad to have you. So, Darlene, every snap you make, every meal you bake, every bite you take, I'll be watching you. Sorry, Sting. You never should have been in the movie. So, give us a little bit of news, Darlene, about the Lucy and Ethel.
Right now they're sleeping and being good, so I can unmute. They're good. That's their dog walk. They're lining up for their group pack picture. And They love their dog walkers. So they get to go every day while I'm working.
I don't know what. So, no, it's still going. It's just a little quiet. So what she said is the dogs are home. They're being good, which is unusual because I noticed that they bark. I can hear them all the way from my house. Not that I mind, but, and that's the truth. Is that the truth, Darlene, what I said?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear them from my house. They're lovely dogs, though. And Charlie, hope you don't mind, but I was looking at this on the internet and I wanted to see it as a bigger photo. Where did you take this?
These masks are great, but they're so good it's hard to talk to them.
Yeah.
So, sorry. So who said Arizona? Some Arizona native over there. Yeah, it is Arizona, but since you asked, it gives me the opportunity to give a little elevator pitch for wild places. This is not necessarily a wild place, but it was that day. And at a different time of year, there's thousands and thousands of RVs and trailers here in Quartzsite, Arizona. This is the Kofa Wildlife Refuge, just south of Quartzsite. So it's, I do post these pictures on Facebook, and some of them are just because they're nice scenes, but some of them also are places where it's kind of easy to feel the wildness. And so wildness is kind of a something worth protecting, I think, not wilderness, but just wildness where there's an absence of civilized things. So, and feeling it is like what Wendell Berry said is overhead and underfoot and all around. So when you look at these pictures, maybe you'll feel some of it too, and that's my goal.
I have one comment about that saguaro cactus. That's actually the state flower.
There you go. And another part of the education. We're learning so much. That's saguaro cactus. Saguaro. Okay, sorry the gimbal thing is not working quite as well as it sometimes does, and I don't want you to miss this because here we go. Jim and Linda are passionate and learned about their business, the Wine Country Star Party, and there they are with their gear. We should engage them for more sorts of things. So Linda, you were taking a class on a new surprise in the accelerating expansion of the universe. Yikes!
Yes, we expanded our brains the other night, Friday night. World-class astronomer, physicist Alex Filippenko came and did a fundraiser for the Robert Ferguson Observatory where we're docents. And it was just amazing to learn the universe continues to expand and it defies gravity, and there's no explanation for it. It's the one area of science where there's lots of room to learn. And so we heard a lot about this mysterious dark matter, which is 75% of what's out there, and we don't know what it is. And it's all thanks to Rotary. I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't Rotary president, if y'all didn't buy me my first telescope. And so like Brian Bauer said, you fall into opportunities that you just wouldn't have if you weren't in this room. And so I'm grateful for that, and thank you all.
That's so impressive. I love that she do that. So she sells insurance by day and seeks the stars at night. And we have somebody patrolling and protecting us. So our friend went out into the desert to make sure that there were no alien abductions while people were out looking at the stars. And where's he at? There he is. Yep, I can't find people in here. My glasses steam up, I get so emotional. So, Patrick, are you out there saving the world?
Oh, hardly. the world will save itself. It's got good people in it. There's a lot of Rotary clubs. So I'm going to kind of parrot Charlie. The wild places are amazing. So Ellie and I made a trip to South Utah via Nevada. And in Nevada is Area 51. And to get to Area 51, where the UFOs are claiming to be, you go on the extraterrestrial highway, and you end up at Rachel, which has the Alien Cafe. But the wild places in the Southwest are spectacular. And we were in the Escalante, which is a river that flows into the Grand Canyon, and for most of it, you can walk in it. So it's pretty spectacular to be among that kind of wildness. So yeah, we're trying to save as much as possible in this outback, and we're going to continue to do that. So, there you go.
I'm still gonna think he's just out there keeping us all safe, because you never know what you're gonna catch out there on the highway. And along the line, seeing what you're going to catch, our morning hiking social is open, and you guys were out and climbing high. Check out these photos. Whoa, is that a view? Was it worth the walk, Rod?
Definitely.
Well, thank you, and the people in Zoom, thank you for taking the mic. So, let's promote a gratitude pandemia. Is that correct pronunciation? Anybody got a better one? Well, we've got a pandemic of gratitude. So, if you've got some gratitude that you would like to share to the Rotary Foundation, our club, or with an act of kindness, this is your moment. Right.
Well, we've got kind of a theme going here. When I came into Rotary and needed insurance, I went to Catherine Graham. When I needed a car, I went to Joe. When I needed eggs, I went to Scott. And as you'll find out at the end of the meeting, when I needed a joke, I went to Gus. But what I want to say right now is if you need a professional photograph, you go to this fellow over here on the wall. Jerry Meshelm came to my house and did a professional photograph that's going to be the cover of a book I spent the last years writing. And so it's with the final formatting editors right now. And so when it's done, I'll show you that photograph. And I'm extremely grateful to Jerry. And Thanksgiving for that, I'll give $250 to the Club Foundation. So.
And is there somebody else? And Bill Sauber, great to see you, sir. You are back from the harvest.
I am grateful that harvest is over. It was 3:30, 4 o'clock mornings working until 4 in the afternoon. It get old after a while, especially for an old guy. But it's a focused period of time, and it's intense, but it's also exciting and fun. And we're bringing in, and by the way, if you've got some money you can set aside, invest in the 2021 harvest. Especially from Millennium, but from anybody. The grapes were spectacular this year. It was a perfect growing season if you had water, but there was no rain to give it bunch rot or mildew or anything. Excellent, excellent grapes. Everything we hauled in, every variety was absolutely stunning. So it's going to be some good wine, but I'm glad to be back.
Thank you, Rod. I'm grateful. I saw my daughter yesterday, who is in grad school in Monterey studying Spanish translation and interpretation. and she is volunteering at Rotary, which is a group of 10 free clinics that are sponsored by the Bay Area Rotary Club. So I was very excited that she's doing volunteering through Rotary for Spanish translation. I'll make a donation to our club.
Well, how cool is that? Anybody else before we move on? Getting close to time for our speaker. Amy Sass is coming up. So, add these to your calendar. Did everybody get an email that tells them that the absolutely free and marvelous district conference is on the 23rd? That's right around the corner. Goes for 2 hours, 9:30 to 11:30. On the 25th, 7:30, Hot Monk. Be there. Take a hike. October the 26th, 5 p.m., the board meets with the district governor at Scoville Banker offices. Please, all board members, be there, be prepared to talk about your avenue of service, talk about the things that are happening that are good, talk about the things that are challenges. We really do need to share that and see what Dustin Littlefield is finding as he moves up and down the state talking to people, or up and down the district, half of the state. And right afterwards, at Woodford, we'll be having a social. So show up, maybe have a little food, a little drink, meet Dustin in a casual environment, and the next day he will be there with us. All protocols observed means no early leavers. And God knows what other protocols I'll skip and screw up. So, International Committee on the 27th, following that meeting with Dustin, and on the 27th, 2 to 4, Redwood Empire Food Bank. You can get the link from Dan Needham, and it's great when we turn out. Last time there was a magnificent 7, and let's see if we can match or beat that number. Community Service Committee meets on November 1st, and who can believe we're already talking about November? I guess the weather shows that we are. So, any announcements for the good of the order? Next week, we'll see John Blount. We're getting 2 in a row. Members of the Rotary Club of Sebastopol, speakers for us. Many of us have heard John Blount before, but you know what? It's different every time and absolutely fabulous. So, Michael, would you please introduce our Charlotte?
I'm happy to do that. Some time ago, the Noon Club had a speaker that did not appear, and that's something I'm particularly sensitive to. And so the president called upon somebody in the audience to step up, and Amy did. And her impromptu, off-the-cuff presentation was so impressive that it was recommended that I talk her into coming down here too, which she was very gracious to do. She is a realtor in town. She was originally involved in the Barlow, the original leases in the Barlow 12 years ago. She has since been back to the Barlow to review some of those leases that had expired. She was the, thank you, she was in charge of the North Bay's largest business incubator down at the former Hewlett Packard plant in Roanoke Park, which is called Soconexus.
Somo Village.
Somo Village, okay. So anyway, that's all I've got to say, Amy. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Charlie.
And it's that.
Should I stand behind here? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Try it out. You know what? You could move over and be president. Probably in the next week.
I don't think
maybe sometime in the next 3 weeks. It doesn't take long.
Oh my gosh, David Marker, you've been a fun meeting. You guys, this morning has been awesome. Okay, so here's what I plan to do. We're gonna do a quick market snapshot. I'm gonna talk about the Santa Rosa short-term rental ordinance. We're gonna talk about the demographic of buyers coming here, overbidding, the unhoused on Morris, fires and rebuilds, and discrimination. Yeah. Okay.
You can do it all without your mask if you want.
Oh, sure, why not? There we go. And if you have any questions, cover them at me, and if I don't make it on time, then just get me the hook. Okay, the market snapshot for Sonoma County. This is the only part of it reads, swear to goodness. The median sale price for Q3, so this last quarter, is $760,000, which is up year over year, 8.6%. Average days on market is 32. David Mark Raymond, is this not staggering that the average day on market is 32 days? Friends, the average escrow is 30 days, you know? So are most things going in escrow within 2 days? No, I think probably some things are closing with cash. I think the overwhelming outpouring of cash is what's leading to this 32-day mark in Sonoma County right now. And we'll talk about who's bringing cash into what and why. I'm not going to talk to you about price per square foot. This doesn't count in Sonoma County. Why do we talk about it? We're not selling condos in San Francisco, so that doesn't matter. Okay, so for Sebastopol, the number of homes sold year over year for Q3, 71 homes in Sebastopol sold this last quarter. That's down from 87 last year. Days on market is 32. We're hitting that Sonoma County average, which is down from 42 last year. 42 is outrageous last year. Come on, man, 32, that's crazy. The median price in Sebastopol has gone over $1 million. It's $1,043,000. 1,043,000. That's up from 995,000 last year for the third quarter. It's up 10%. And a couple of other towns that I would note, Guerneville sold 52 homes last quarter. That's up 44%. 44%. And check it out. Their price also went up 21%. So they sold 44% more houses for 21% more money. Jenner sold 2 homes last year, the third quarter, and this year they sold 4. That's up 100%. But also, the price then went up 142%. Sure, 2 of the 4 were very expensive homes, but that's interesting. And the town of Bodega, I would say, okay, during the pandemic, most people that came here, not most people, but where we saw the most increase was coastal Sonoma County for sales and for price. I think that was driven by folks who were coming from the broader Bay Area looking for some kind of getaway, right? And that would lead us to the cash that's coming here as well. And the way of doing business in the broader Bay Area has always kind of influenced our way of doing business. Back in the day, and I know you remember this too, DMR, we didn't used to do all of our inspections up front, and we didn't used to have a bunch of non-contingent offers. But how you get a non-contingent offer usually is by the seller paying for their own inspections up front, so that a buyer can have all the information and make that decision. We saw so many non-contingent, all-cash offers in Sonoma County these last, during the pandemic, that it's kind of changed the way that we're now doing business here. Oh, tell me.
How do you define non-contingent?
Man, no loan contingency, no inspection contingency, no appraisal contingency, just here's a bunch of cash. I don't care what I discover, we're just gonna close, right? That's the non-contingent offer. And what I had never seen before, and I don't know, I've been doing this since 2004, so whatever, I've been in it some years to see, I went through the downturn and then the up again. I had never seen someone with a loan go contingency free. I have a loan. Whether I get the loan or not, either I'm gonna close or I'm gonna forfeit to you my initial deposit, right? Which is 3%. So that's interesting. Wow, people are just willing, no matter what happens, to go non-contingent. So I digress. Bodega, 18 homes sold this Q3. That's down from 29 homes last year. There's not much more to sell out there, I think is what's happening. And the price went up 47%. Last year, it was $1,055,000. Now it's $1,552,000. Wow. People want the coast. Also, I would say Cazadero. I have never seen so many Cazadero listings sell. Like, Cazadero is hot. What? And their price is up 56% too. Last year, same quarter, 440,000 the median price. Now it's 685 the median price. Typically we would see when adjustments in the market happen that the further you get from San Francisco, the deeper the adjustment may be. And there are some outliers, Healdsburg and Sebastopol being one of them, that don't see our prices affected as much. But it will be interesting to see what happens in places like Cazadero, Guerneville, Montreal, Cloverdale, Geyserville, when the next adjustment happens. There's always an adjustment. So I would look for that. Okie dokie. Oh, the short-term rental ordinance. So last Wednesday, a week ago, there was a, what do they call it? A temporary moratorium on any new short-term rental permit being issued so that they could revise all of the rules on it. We have rules already. In reading the articles in the newspaper, it seems like it was just the Wild West and there were no rules and anybody could get it. No, man, there were always rules. It's just how we're enforcing them and how far we're going to take the rules. Things like capacity, noise, party restrictions, parking, who can own short-term rentals and how many they can own, the number of rooms in a house that you can rent out, and the size of the home. For example, I went to help a buyer. There's a house here in town. There are multiple homes on one parcel, actually 4 homes. 2 of them, according to the ordinance that we already had, this is the county ordinance, right? Not the city of Santa Rosa, but the county ordinance, is that 2 of those homes may be short-term rentals, any 2 homes on a parcel, no matter how many homes you have. And one of them can be a long-term rental. It doesn't say about the 4th home. I don't know, man. Don't rent it, use it as a shed. It's interesting what these ordinances say. And I think the reason, of course, for this is that low-income housing is nearly non-existent. And we're trying to do something to protect low-income housing so that our children and other generations can still buy property here. And it's a rough one. And for example, I would note, I guess I'm getting on to another topic, which is the unhoused on Morris, those RVs that we see lined up in town. Oh, I also have my opinion, but I have the mic and I'll share it. Are they unhoused? They're not under cardboard. It's interesting our perspective on who may be homeless or not. And if you ask the people in RVs if they are homeless, they might have a different perspective than we do of being unhoused, right? And currently, you cannot park an RV and live in it on your property, city or county, for X number of days, right? You have X number of days that someone may occupy an RV on your land, or a mobile home, or whatever you drive on it. And the county would say, of course, that this is because of septic, right? But I know, and probably you know too, lots of people who lived in RVs on their own land while they did remodels or while they built their home or whatever. You have that thing pumped, you know? It's interesting that we are, in a way, creating in some form or another homelessness for people that wouldn't necessarily have to be unhoused. If on private property, we could have people that lived in their RVs and have them pumped. And it's a little bit of a kind of chicken and egg thing, however you feel about marijuana and making it legal or not. But before marijuana was legal, There were thousands and thousands and thousands of people, West County, Sonoma County, the biggest cash crop next to vines, who were growing weed. And it was overwhelming to police to control this in any way, because there were thousands and thousands and thousands of people doing it. And once you make it legal, now you have outliers of people who didn't get the right permits, don't have the right forms. Neighbors notice something's happening, and now the police and force can do something about it, because now there are fewer people to enforce these rules upon. And I've noticed selling property here in West County, maybe you've noticed too, that people do have all kinds of unpermitted living situations. There are thousands and thousands and thousands. And if we could do something about our regulations, county and city, about who is homeless and what it means to live in a car and where that car might be parked and for how long, we might be able to, at the base, do something about the unhoused on Morris, because moving them to a safe parking situation is an intermediary step and isn't doing anything to help us with our low-income housing problem. Speaking of which, I have clients who are here in town. They have an extended family that's coming to live with them. They went to add a JDU and an ADU to their property. It's a house in town. And in order to do the ADU, which is not currently inside the house, which is a JDU, right? But to add on to their house to accommodate for their extended family, and they're on city sewer and city water, the cost to build a very small ADU on their property was $1,000 a square foot. I'm not saying the city fees, but just building costs and materials now, it was $1,000 a square foot, which is rough, man, when we're talking about creating affordable housing. How affordable is this, you know? And so instead of putting that on their property, they're selling their property here in town and buying another property that has multiple structures already on it. And they didn't want to sell, and they didn't want to do that. And they could have had an uncle who was coming pull up his RV, and it would have solved that problem. So it's not the only solution, but we could consider it. Oh, the demographic of buyers coming here. I talked a bit about people coming from San Francisco and outlying areas coming here and why they're coming. But I do notice yesterday I had 3 buyer intakes, which was a lot for one day. But I feel like it is indicative of the buyers who are coming here. One is a couple from San Francisco that owns their home in San Francisco and has a condo that they rent. They want to sell the condo that they rent in San Francisco and buy a vacation rental here because one day they may retire here. I hear this over and over again. Right now, it'll be a short-term rental or a long-term rental, but when I retire, I won't want to live in Palo Alto or San Francisco or the Oakland Hills. I'd much rather live in wine country. So I'm just going to short-term rental it for now, and then I'll retire here. I hear that over and over again. And what they would like is vineyard views. Okay, that's that person. And then there's another person who moved here that's getting money from family that wants a fixer. And then the other people have many properties, and they would like a retreat that's 100 acres or so, you know, give or take. And they're up to 3 million, but it could be a fixer, you know. And so so those are the I recently had a listing here in town on Sullivan Road. You probably know it. And person after person after person came to that property. It's 4 acres. It's 3,700 square feet, the house. It's a big house. And has a pool, second home. This would be a second home for us. This would be a second home. That's a large second home on a lot of property that you'll visit every once in a while. And that stayed on the market for a minute because we didn't freshly paint the exterior and put new carpet. And a lot of these second home buyers want something that's done right now. They don't want to do anything to it. They can't see past the carpet, and they're surprised that someone is living there. Someone's living here right now? Someone's living here? Oh, someone's living being here. Because in San Francisco and Palo Alto and the East Bay, if you were to sell your home, you would move out, you would do any repairs, you would paint the interior and the exterior. You might remodel the kitchen and a couple of baths, because the last time was 2010, and that's so dated now, and nobody wants white and stainless anymore. And then you would put all of your belongings in storage, and you would move into a hotel, you know? And so homes that are going over, there was a home in Sebastopol that sold for $600,000 more. It looked like that. It was, you know, the cover of Sunset, right? That's what the all cash buyer is wanting now. Let's see. Oh, fires and rebuilds. It's interesting because if you were to build somewhere now, if you wanted to buy a lot in Sebastopol and build on it, it's going to take you a minute, because the county is pretty overwhelmed with the rebuilds that we already have now for fire. And in order for you to put in a septic on this piece of land that you would like to buy in Sebastopol, you might need a wet weather perk. We haven't been able to do wet weather perks in quite some time out here. But if you wanted to rebuild, say, in Fountain Grove on one of those lots there, you already have septic, you already have sewer, you already have everything. They're going to charge you reduced fees. You're going to be streamlined through that thing. So the least expensive building opportunity that we've had in many, many, many years are fire rebuilds now. You know, barring the skyrocketing prices of lumber, etc. But most people are gun shy because of labor and the cost of material right now to do a rebuild anywhere. So what we're seeing more of now are builders like Christopherson partnering with sellers of land, right? Saying, okay, if you buy this plot for $295,000, here's a layout of the home that Christopherson will build for you for $1,195,000, right? So that people can kind of imagine what's possible and have a price, and that's pretty successful right now. I'm going to talk about discrimination and open up for questions. How am I in time?
You're doing well. Let's say 4 more minutes.
Okay. There are rules now, just in this last year, about love letters. You know, the letter that you would write to someone, dear Dave and Jean, we really love your home. We particularly love the milkweed, and we would keep the butterflies, and our children are going to go to the school up the street, and my wife loves the tile that you chose, the backsplash is gorgeous. So we've always done these letters, but because the letters usually include things like my wife, our children, pictures of people, these are dogs. These are protected classes for discrimination. And let's just say that you received 6 offers, each of them the same price and terms, and you chose the lovely white couple, man and woman, and you didn't choose the not white couple, man and woman. You didn't choose the 2 women or the what, you know what I mean? And lawsuits around that. And so now, instead of submitting letters, when representing sellers, you would just say, hey, we're not going to look at letters. But even more than that, and this is what I want to mention. I have never noticed in all of my years of selling real estate that someone didn't want to sell to a person of color or to somebody based on sex. But I have noticed time and again, sellers look and say, you know, wow, a single woman, and she's a little bit older, she's not gonna be able to maintain this property. Here's a younger couple, you know, and and he'll probably be able to really maintain this property. I just don't think that she'd be able to really keep it up. And that's so rough, man. So now, when presenting offers, I make a Excel spreadsheet if there are multiple offers. I say the offer from David Mark Raymond, the offer from Carrie Fargo, the offer from this person, because even when you just say, you know, here's an offer from Carol, here's an offer from Bob and Steve, you know, it could mean something to someone, and so that's what we're doing. Yay! Yes.
One of the things I noticed starting last year, or year before that, is this coming on the
market soon.
Oh, coming soon, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
And I think that was put in to try and get bids ahead of time so that the owners would have an idea of what the house would go for.
Yeah.
Because I think those should be in the MLS, and people, you know, it just seems like a technique in order to maybe freeze out the realtor that wants to buy, you know, for.
Do you, okay, so it wouldn't freeze out the realtor, you know, because the only person who sees coming soon are other realtors. But I do think, and this is my personal thought on it, I do think that competition is what drives price. And if you're going to accept an offer before something hits market, then you won't know what market rate is. And I stopped doing coming soon because other realtors would say, oh, can I get in and can I get in early? And would you accept a preemptive offer? And even if you wouldn't, here's our offer, why don't you present it? And even though sellers know that competition is what drives price, one might be inclined to accept an offer that's perceived as high before something comes on market, giving that person and that person only the benefit of not having to compete, which I'm not prescribing in. Yes.
What's your view of these companies? What's your view of these companies that are coming in and buying up big agricultural mansions and so forth, and then trying to do timeshares with them?
Oh, the poor guys that are doing that. You know what? It's a way to circumscribe current regulations because right now you can't do timeshares legally in Sonoma. You can't buy that house and sell shares of it. That's not legal, right? And there are all of these regulations now for short-term rentals, right? But the companies that are buying these mansions and selling portions of the mansion, you get a fifth, you get a fifth, you get a fifth, you get a fifth. And then any one of those people that own that can, to their friends and to their family and to people they know, give away portions of the time. It is like doing a short-term rental. It is like doing a timeshare, but it gets around all of our current laws around that. So either we have to make new laws that address that specifically, or there's just going to be a lot more of that.
That was lovely. Thank you so much. You did a good job. Thank you very much for that. All of you who have remained masked up in the audience, glad to see you doing that. So, we've got a joke for the day. Oh, by the way, Amy, would you suggest that we all work together, sell our houses, and we can buy Plumas County?
Monday, 5 of us were up on North Sonoma Mountain, and Gus was with us, and Gus shared some wisdom. And that was, if you are out hiking in the wilderness and you're suddenly hit by a blizzard and you can't get out and you feel your body getting cold, his advice was you lay your body over a log. So when the rescue team comes, it's easier to put you on a mule.
Isn't that nice? Thank you, I think. Thank you. So, Joe, it's time for us to go, and remember, if you can stay and help to clean up and be a part of that fun, you're welcome here.
Trails to you, till we again. Trails to you.